Hey guys, good afternoon, good evening to you all, and thank you so much for being here tonight. We are going to be discussing merit-based scholarships and ACT requirements. So that's our topic this evening. Remember, last week we talked about 10 reasons why your child should take the ACT exam. And of course, one of those reasons was to stand out for scholarships, to meet the requirements, and to get more money for school. And that is, one of the most sought after reasons. That's kind of the biggest incentive that people have, that students have for taking the ACT, right? Everybody is looking for funds to go to college. And if you can go to school free or virtually free, that is an amazing thing. Nobody wants student loans. At least you don't want the kind of student loans that I have, trust me. So if you can go to school for free, that's great. And that's one of the benefits of taking the ACT. And today we're going to get into exactly how much money can your child earn by having a certain ACT score? Like, how valuable are merit-based scholarships? So we're going to talk about that today. If you have any questions, guys, to just drop them in the comment section, and I'll make sure that we respond to you and get those answers to you. So we're going to jump right in. How much money can your child actually earn for college to go to school and get a quality degree from merit-based scholarships based on their ACT score? So what I decided to do is to kind of look through different scholarship programs that are offered by various states. And of course, I cannot do all 50 states in this training today, but we're going to look at a couple of states or a few states today. And then we're also going to look at a military scholarship, which I knew about it. It's been around for years. I'm going to talk to you about that. It's a full tuition scholarship. And one of the requirements is a certain ACT score. But not only is your tuition completely covered, your cost of attendance and all of that, you also can get a paycheck, right? So your student can go to school for free and get a monthly paycheck, right? So I think all of these programs are wonderful, but you may or may not have heard of them or know how to apply or what exactly the requirements are or how much money is really out there for your child to go to school. So we're going to take a look at that right now. So I'm going to pull up everything that we need. I'm going to start with the military scholarship first, so you can see that one. And while I'm doing that, just let me introduce myself, guys, for those who may be new here inside of the group or new to the channel. My name is Miss Tori. I am your ACT math tutor, the founder of Limitless Math. And what we do here is help your child maximize their ACT score by boosting their math skills. And we also help in all subjects of the ACT. So we're maximizing ACT scores so that your child can qualify for scholarships and to be admitted into their first choice university. So here we go with the first scholarship, the Minuteman Scholarship, offered by the military. Okay, guys, so let me know if you are seeing this on your screen. You can drop any kind of emoji in the chat to let me know that it is coming through okay for you. And this scholarship is the Minuteman Scholarship Program. It is a Reserve Officers Training Corps Guaranteed Reserves Force Duty Scholarship. Okay, so that's ROTC and GRFD Scholarship. All qualified applicants for ROTC scholarships may apply for consideration for a Minuteman Scholarship. And this one covers full tuition and fees uncapped, meaning there is no maximum, right? So no matter what school you choose to attend, no matter how high the tuition is, they will cover your full tuition and fees, no maximum, uncapped, or you can choose the $10,000 per year option. So of course, you're going to choose whichever one is the most for your particular school. So if your tuition is less than 10,000, then choose the 10,000 one for your room and board. But of course, if your tuition is over 10,000, which is probably the case, then you're going to want to choose the full tuition route and fees uncapped, right? That's phenomenal. Your family won't have to pretty much pay for anything for you to go to school if you receive this scholarship, okay? So it does go to any college or university served by an Army ROTC program. So you do have to make sure your college of choice does have an Army ROTC program offered there at that school in order to get the scholarship. But still, guys, 100% of your tuition covered. And if you're interested in the military, and if you're interested particularly in the Army, then this is a great option for you. So let's talk about the requirements to receive this scholarship. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, you also, it's just kind of small here, I hope you guys can see it, but I will share these links as well. But you get a yearly book allowance of $1,200 to cover your books and materials, and then you get the monthly stipend of $420. So, I don't know how you may feel about getting a monthly stipend of $420, but when I was in college, if I was able to have $420 coming in monthly, I would have been appreciative of that. I would have been. So I know it's 2022 and things cost a lot more than they used to, but hey, it's an extra $420, right, that you're getting monthly. So you can weigh that out over the course of the 4 years. This is going to be a sizable scholarship amount of money that you would be receiving. So let's get into the requirements. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be between ages 17 and 30. So you don't have to be a recent high school grad to do this. You can have a break between high school and still participate in this program. You do have to pass the physical requirements here. So all of you military people, ROTC people, I'm sure you're familiar with that. I'm not. You're currently in the Army Reserve, right? So you have to sign up for that, or eligible for enlistment, okay? And here's another physical requirement here, ability to pass the Army physical fitness test, meet other physical standards. So it is very much on the physical side, but I'm gonna jump down here to the test score requirement, okay? And on their flyer, they do have it backwards. So it's 1,000 SAT score or a 19 on the ACT, okay? So a 19 on the ACT is the academic requirement, along with the 2.5, is an academic requirement to receive this Minuteman Scholarship and get full tuition paid, plus a book allowance, plus a monthly stipend, okay? So the contact information is there if that is something you're highly considering. If you're already in consideration of joining the military or perhaps the Army, you might really want to think about this one. Did you guys know that this existed? Let me know in the chat, anyone who, is this news to you? Did you know that you could go to school completely for free, book allowance, stipend, for participating in this program? Okay, let me know. And if there's if you did know about it and you know other tips or information that's not shared here, let us know, because some people are looking for ways in which to get an education at low cost or for free, and maybe they will consider something like this, okay? So let's just kind of look at exactly how much money this translates to when we talk about full tuition, book allowance, stipend, 4 years of school. Okay, so here's an example for 4 years, Boston College, right? If you include tuition and fees, the stipend, and the book allowance, right? If you include all of that, it breaks it down by how much it is per year. So like their freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior year, and then you get the totals, Okay, so a student who is interested in this scholarship and wanting to attend Boston College for 4 years, that's going to be $254,000, basically $255,000 over their time at that school. Okay, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So we were thinking, how much can you actually earn? Well, here's an example right here. For that's Boston College, you can research other universities and see how much this particular scholarship would award for that school. But here's just an example, $255,000 for 4 years. Okay, I think that's amazing. All right, so that's a military scholarship, U.S. Army Reserves, all across the nation. You just have to pick a school that has an Army ROTC program. Okay, now let's look at some state programs. Let's talk about Florida, which I recently learned has an awesome scholarship program. So I'm just going to start in Florida and we'll kind of work our way up the East Coast for the amount of time that we have today. Okay, so any questions about Minuteman Scholarship, just drop those in the comments and I will try to make sure we get those answered for you. And we're going to move on to the Florida Bright Futures Scholarship. Okay, so I hope that I am screen sharing the information for Florida. Let me know if you can see it in the chat. So Florida has a scholarship program called the Bright Futures Scholarship Program. And there are 2 parts to it, and there might be a few more parts, but these 2 sections are where I was kind of drawn in. I've been talking to a few parents lately, and these are the targets that they're trying to help their children meet. So you have the Florida Medallion Scholars, the FMS, and look, guys, your child will receive an award to cover 75% of tuition and applicable fees. 75%. That means you would only need outside scholarships for 25% or for your family to try to make up that gap, but it's only a 25% gap. Like, it's virtually free, just about, like almost. That's a lot of aid that the state would be providing to your child. That's amazing, right? But it doesn't stop there. It gets even better, right? Like I have to give Florida a round of applause for doing this for their state. And there might be other states that do this much assistance. I'm not sure. You guys can let me know in the chat. I'm still researching. So like I said, today we're going to go through Florida and a little bit up the East Coast. But if you know other states that have similar scholarship programs that are merit-based like this, please let me know so we can get the information out to more people. But yeah, so Florida, the first one here, Florida Medallion Scholars, covers 75%. See that? 75% of tuition. 75%. I think that's great. Okay. Then there's another one even higher, even more money, right? The Florida Academic Scholars, that's FAS, that will cover the entire 100%, all of it, right? All of their tuition is paid. Okay. So we can think through like how much money that is from a dollar standpoint, but really you can look up schools in Florida. If you're a Florida resident, you can look up your college that you want to attend, see what the tuition is, right? And whatever that tuition is over 4 years, that's what you would be getting for the Florida Academic Scholarship. And then here for the Florida Medallion Scholars, it would be 75%. 75%. And I think I recently looked up UCF, and I don't have it ready like on the screen to pull up for you, and I'm not going to take the time now, but I know it was about, for in-state tuition, about $6,000 per year, a little bit more than that, I'm sure. But that was just tuition, no fees, no application fees, no technology fees, no parking fees, no all of those things that they rack up on you when you go to college. But let's say it was 6,000, right? 6,000 times the 4 years that you'll be there, $24,000, right? $24,000 here. And of course, schools have different rates for tuition. So some are more, some are less. If your school is more expensive, then that's more money that this scholarship is worth to you, right? But even at 75%, right, that's still a lot of money. Just calculating it, that's $18,000, right, in scholarship to go to UCF. And that's an estimation, so don't quote me on that. Don't come for me, all you UCF people. But yeah, so this is wonderful. So now you might be thinking, okay, well, that's great. I know I can get 75% or 100%, but what are the requirements, right? So this whole conversation tonight is about how much money you can earn and what are the ACT requirements to earn that amount, right? So we're connecting those things. So let's look right over here where they have the requirements, and let me make that bigger. All right, so remember the medallion one, the FMS, is the one where you get 75%. And here are all the requirements. You can look across here. But for the ACT, they need to make a 25 at least. Okay, at least a 25 on the ACT, along with the other requirements, right? Then they are going to be eligible for 75% of their tuition to be paid. They need 25. Okay. And if you want the 100% tuition paid, right, then they are looking for a 29. Okay. All right. So any questions on that, guys? Any questions? I'm just over the moon, like excited for students who have access to this kind of state aid. I think that's incredible. And so you can kind of see a little bit there on the screen about requirements to receive the award, renewals, and that kind of thing. But that's amazing, right? Any Florida people watching right now, let us know in the chat. Like, did you know about this? I don't know how vocal or how out there it is in your state. Hopefully everyone is aware of it. I would hope so. If not, then help your child get those requirements met if they're interested in going to college after graduation, because that's awesome. 75% tuition, 100% tuition. Like, I'm just gonna say I didn't have it. So I'm a little bit jealous, low-key jealous, but that's okay. All right. All right, so if you have any questions at all about the Florida Bright Futures Scholarship, let me know in the comments. We're gonna move on up the East Coast and look at Georgia next. But right now, so far we've seen the Minuteman Scholarship that is nationwide for people interested in the Army ROTC. That was $255,000 worth of aid we were able to see there. Here in Florida, we gave an example of about 24,000 and 18,000. But guys, like I said, of course, if the tuition is higher, then the scholarship award is going to be higher too. So let's take a look now at Georgia's offerings for merit-based scholarships. All right, guys, so you should see on the screen now oh, wow, this is my trend done. You should see on the screen now the merit-based scholarships for Georgia. So they have the Hope Scholarship and the Zell Miller Scholarships. And right now, what you're going to see are the actual academic requirements, because their amounts are based on per school basis, right? So it's not a broad 75%, 100%. Like, you would have to, and I'll show you in just a second, but you have to use a tool where you can put in your school of choice in Georgia, and it will tell you exactly how much money would be awarded for that school per semester. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Hope Scholarship, because I actually think the Hope one, if I remember correctly, and these were the only two merit-based scholarships that I saw in my research of Georgia. So if you know of any others for Georgia, if we have any Georgia residents watching, please comment and let us know if there are any additional state scholarships based on merit. Okay, so that means based on some academic requirement is involved in order to receive the funds. So I'm going to pull this up, but I think I remember the Hope Scholarship didn't have a required ACT score, if I'm remembering correctly. So Georgia has one option where I don't believe you have to have an ACT score to get it. Okay, but the requirements do change based on, sorry, based on where you graduated. So they have different categories of high school graduates. So you either attended an eligible high school or an accredited home study program, homeschool program, or you graduated from what they consider an ineligible high school or an unaccredited homeschool program, or if you earned a GED. So there's some different things there, or also while you're already in college. Okay, so they have a lot of different categories of student that they base. Okay, well, you qualify for this amount or that amount. All right, so I'm just going to look at the eligible high school, and you'll see there it doesn't have an ACT score requirement. Okay, so 3.0, and you completed the minimum number of credits, and they have an academic rigor course list. So make sure you're following all of that. But if you have a 3.0 GPA and you have the minimum number of requirements of credits based on this academic course list, then you qualify for this Hope Scholarship. And we'll talk about how much money that is. Okay. Now, people who are students who are graduating from a high school that's ineligible, or from, let me move this out of the way, or from an unaccredited homeschool program, or you earned a GED, then you have an ACT requirement. Okay, so if you go to a high school that they consider to be eligible, which you'll have to find out about that on your own, then there's no ACT score requirement. However, if you are participating in a homeschool program that's unaccredited, or your high school is deemed ineligible, or you didn't complete high school traditionally and you earned a GED, if you fit into either of those areas, then you do have an ACT requirement, and you have to have a score of a 24. Okay? And that is for the Hope Scholarship. Okay? So let's see exactly how much money is that, right? How much money can you earn from the Hope Scholarship? So have to go over to award amounts, and yeah, this is where you have to do the little calculator. All right, so yeah, you can pick your institution. You have technical, private, or within the university systems. So let's just say you're going to a state school. I'm just picking Albany State University here. And then you'll see, and this is based on how many credit hours you take for the semester. So generally, you're going to take between 12 and 15, to maintain your full-time status and qualify for other scholarships. So here we're looking at $1,884 for 12 credit hours, and then up to 15, it becomes like $2,350. And that's per semester, right? So then you can multiply that by 8 to get kind of the full picture of the Hope Scholarship at this particular school. Now, what about the Zell Miller? You can see those are a little bit more, even for that school. It's just a little bit more funding. So here is $2,000 versus the $1,800 per semester, and then 15, you're looking at $2,500 per semester. So it's about $200 difference per semester, but you can multiply that $200 over the course of the time that you're enrolled at the school and get an accurate picture of how much scholarship money you can actually receive based on merit from your state. And this is just from the state. Of course, your college or university that you choose to go to likely has a merit-based program as well, and you can qualify for theirs also. So let's go back and look at the requirements for the Zell Miller. So remember the Hope Scholarship for Georgia. If you go to an eligible high school and graduate, no ACT requirement. But if you go to an ineligible high school or an unaccredited homeschool, or you earned a GED, then you have to have a 24. And that's for the Hope Scholarship, which is about $200 less than the Zell Miller Scholarship per semester. And that was for Albany State, right? It was $200 less there. Let me just look at one more school. Let's go Georgia Southern. Let's look at one more school and see if it's a $200 difference there. Okay, so Georgia Southern, looking at $2,000 for 12 credit hours a semester, and then, so that one's $2,100. So it's not even a $200 difference for that particular school. So remember, this program is per school, how you know the amount. Okay, so Zell Miller Scholarship in Georgia, merit-based. Let's check out the requirements there. Once again, they do categorize the students by eligible high school, and that all of that is still pretty much the same here. Okay, so if you go to an eligible high school, the ACT requirement is a 26 for the Zell Miller Scholarship. Right? And if you for some reason were at an ineligible high school or unaccredited homeschool program, then it's a 29. Notice this one is not available for students who earn a GED. Okay, so you're able to determine kind of how much money you would be able to get from those scholarship programs. I'm going to take the Albany State one, which is $2,500 a semester. And that's about $20,000. So it's kind of on track with the Florida program, with UCF being about $24,000 for the 4 years in state full tuition. So you have to take those amounts and actually compare them to what the tuition is at the school. If that's really close to the tuition rate, then that's awesome. Or if it's 100%, but you won't know unless you know what the tuition for the school is. But still, guys, these are awesome free college tuition money. Like, you don't have to pay these back. You just meet the requirements. They send the money to your school, and it lowers your personal obligation, and then you're less likely to have student loans. Okay? So if you can lower your personal financial accountability, or your amount that you have to pay out of pocket, the better. The more money you can get, the better. All right, so let's move on up to South Carolina. It's going to be the last one we get to today. I was trying to get to South Carolina and North Carolina, but I know that I've held you guys way too long at this point. So let's look at South Carolina's merit-based scholarship programs. Okay, let's see. Let me know, is this coming through okay for you guys? Let me know. Okay, so South Carolina has two, I think maybe also probably three merit-based scholarship program or scholarship tiers. And this highest paid one is the Palmetto Fellows, okay? And you'll see here, for freshmen, you can get an annual, so that's not per semester, that's for the year, $6,700. And then for your upper class years, sophomore, junior, senior, $7,500 per year for this scholarship, okay? Which probably for the most part is really close to in-state tuition. Now the scholarship, of course, it goes to cost of attendance. It does say less any other aid that you might receive. So this is not one of those scholarships where you're going to get the refund back on it. But that is a good bit of money there. You take that and you multiply it across your 4 years. That should help you out quite a lot for students who are in South Carolina. Now, what are the requirements to receive that amount of money, particularly the ACT score? So we've got 2 things here for academic requirements. You have the early awards, and then you have like just when you come in. And so we have an ACT of 27. If you have a 3.5 GPA, and I'm kind of skimming this. So this is by the March test, 3.5 GPA, you can have a 27 and top 6% of your class, okay? So those 3 things all have to be in play to qualify for this scholarship, or you can skip out on the rank requirement. You don't have to be in the top 6% if you have a 32. Okay. So 4.0 GPA and a 32. So it's pretty steep requirements there, but they are giving out a lot of money for it. So how much can you actually get with $6,700 the first year and then $7,500 the last 3 years? Right, so it's $29,000 for you for if you qualify. So an ACT score of 27, ACT score of 32 will get you $29,000 in South Carolina. That is the Palmetto Fellows Scholarship. Now we're going to take a look also at the Life Scholarship and the Hope Scholarship and look at their award amounts and also the requirements for those. All right, guys, so here's the information for Life Scholarship in South Carolina, just one level down from the Palmetto Fellows. And we're going to take a look at the award amounts here. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is kind of confusing. So South Carolina, you're going to have to get it together on this one. But for the award amount, it says $4,700 plus a $300 book allowance. And I'm looking here at the institution. It's 4-year public, 4-year independent, same thing, $4,700. But then it says 2-year public, not to exceed $5,000. So it was a little confusing to me. Like, are we paying more for 2-year schools? I guess so. Then for technical colleges, it also said not to exceed 5,000. So maybe there's a bump there for the 2-year and the technical. Yes, you might want some clarity on that. I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to go with the $4,700 amount for the year. And if you do 47 times the 4 years, then you're looking at $18,000 in scholarship funding for the Life Scholarship in South Carolina. So it could potentially be $5,000. You might want to check with them. This says this was updated July 27th of 2021. So find out about that for sure. So, but somewhere it's either $4,700 or $5,000 or somewhere between there. Okay. So what does it take to qualify for a Life Scholarship in South Carolina? So here you have the ACT requirement. It says actually 1,100 on the SAT or the equivalent, and that's a 22. Okay, so 22 is the equivalent, if you look on the comparison chart, to an 1,100 on the SAT. So to get $18,000 at least in scholarship funding in South Carolina, need a 22. All right, and then there's one more I want to take a look at for South Carolina, and that is the Hope Scholarship. And I might say one little blurb about North Carolina, and we're going to get out of here, guys. But any questions or comments that you have, just let me know in the chat. And if you were surprised by this information, did you know that this funding was available to your child if they reside in one of these states, if they meet these academic requirements, and a part of those requirements are a certain ACT scores. So let me know any major ahas, any takeaways, or if there's any updates to this information that you know of because you reside in those states. Let us know that as well. Like if there's some more money out there, we definitely want to know so that we can help students go to college with as little cost as possible. All right, so let's look at now the Hope Scholarship for South Carolina. So here we have the South Carolina Hope Scholarship, and the award amount for this one is $2,800. And again, South Carolina does their scholarships for the year. They are not for semester. So it's $2,800 for the full year, split in half. See, fall term and spring term, you should see that here. Funding is awarded half. And all of the ones that we talked about today for South Carolina, Palmetto Fellows, Life Scholarship, they both were annual amounts. You get half the fall semester, half the spring semester. Now, one thing about Hope is that it covers the cost of attendance during the first year of school only. Okay, so it's a 1 year scholarship. So 2,800 times 2 is what this scholarship is, all right? $5,600. Now, plus your book allowance. But if I understand this correctly, and I didn't really dig deep into it, but someone told me that this is your hoping, right? The Hope Scholarship is you're hoping to get the Life Scholarship. Like you hope in that first year of college that you'll meet the requirements to upgrade your scholarship to a Life Scholarship, because this is just for 1 year, okay? So the requirements here is just a 3.0. So no ACT requirement on this one. South Carolina residents, if they have a 3.0, then they can get this $5,600 their first year of school. But then, of course, you want to try to become eligible for the Life Scholarship in your sophomore year so that you can get funding for the rest of your degree. Okay, so that's South Carolina. And really quick for North Carolina, from what I understand, they don't have a state scholarship that just goes to, like that's from the state based on merit that you can take to any school. In North Carolina, the scholarships, and this is a really good document for North Carolina residents. You want to make sure you get a hold of this, the Student Financial Aid handbook. That is really great information in there about all of the scholarships they have. But when I researched North Carolina, what I discovered was for merit-based, it's by the school only. So you would go to your particular college or university that you're interested in and see what their merit-based program is at their school. Okay, and that's it. The state does have scholarship programs, but the public state money is needs based. So based on your financial need, not based on academic merit. But Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, those states have state funding based on merit, based on academic requirements, based on test scores. And then also the universities within those states have their own merit-based scholarships as well. You just reach out to the school that you plan to go to and find out the requirements for the particular school's merit-based scholarship program. But I hope that this information has helped you guys a lot to see how much money really is available out there, how much funding your child can get by qualifying for these merit-based scholarships. And remember, these are academic requirements, and most of them have a test score requirement. So you want to make sure you meet everything: GPA, community service, rank in your graduating class. Like those are all important, but then they also have the test requirement, and you need to have a certain score. So make sure you are aware of all of that so you don't miss out on any of this free money. Free, you don't have to pay it back. It's not alone. You don't want to miss out on any of this free money in any of these states, okay? And that's all that I can cover today in our time. But if you guys are interested in me looking into more states, we can continue up the eastern region and then go central and on and on and on. Until we've covered the entire nation. If you're interested in that, let me know in the chat. I'm more than happy to do the research and find this money for you guys. And also, I am happy to help you with any of your ACT prep needs. So we know that there is a test coming up in June the 11th. I believe it's the second Saturday in June. Coming up this summer. And particularly if you need assistance with the math, we are offering a super low cost math test review program. It's only $30. It includes 3 full sessions of ACT math tutoring. You're going to take 3 proctored practice tests, and then we'll go over the solutions afterwards. So that's 3 complete official ACT released questions, released practice tests. They are quality. These are test questions that the test makers have released from prior tests before. So we know they are really similar to what your child is going to see on that June test. We have 3 sessions and it's only $30. And so I'm going to show you that here as well, so you can see all of the perks and get the information about where you need to go to sign up, which is www.actmathtutor.com/ACT3up, right? So it's like Act 3 Up is where you want to be. I'm going to show you the information here. If my technology will work for me. Right, so here is all of the information for the ACT test math review coming up starting this May 11th. It's Wednesday nights, May 11th, May 18th, May 25th, and all sessions will start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, led by yours truly, ACT certified educator. Again, we're going through 3 proctored complete ACT math tests, then step-by-step solutions explained live. You'll also get a checklist of the must-know math topics. We're going to talk about strategies, and you have lifetime access to the replays in case you miss one of the nights. And this is all for the low cost, guys, the low cost of $30, right? It's like $10 per session, but it's extremely affordable. We want to help as many students as we can prepare for that June 11th test. For a lot of students, particularly seniors, trying to earn those scores for those scholarships before this fall, you need to make it count this June test, right? So I've spoken with several students, particularly in Florida, who are trying to get that score that they need to qualify for either the 75% or the 100% scholarship, which they know they have to get that done by June 30th. So this June 11th test, we need it done on this last shot. Guys, sign up for this program. It's www.actmathtutor.com/act3up. It's $30 per student. Okay. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I hope you got some value out of this training. We did move it to 7 p.m. tonight. Let me know if that works for you guys, and we might consider keeping it at this time going forward. But once again, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.